with a heart overflowing with happiness, I welcome Isha, Akash and Anant to the Reliance board. And I call upon all of you, my dear shareholders, to extend your blessings and best wishes to Isha, Akash and Anant.
Well, the next generation has been inducted into the board of Reliance Industries, but Mukesh Ambani will remain as the chairman for the next 5 years. Those are among the slew of big announcements from the Reliance annual general meeting that took place today. Good evening and thanks for joining us on our special coverage. I'm Sonia Shenoy. With me, of course, is Prashant Nair. Hi, Prashant.
Well, Sonia, hi. Well, apart from announcing several new launches, Mr. Ambani made a big promise to shareholders on value creation as well. Take a look.
I am supremely confident that the value that your company will create for all its stakeholders over the next decade will be multiple times greater than what it has generated over the past 45 years.
Well, that is, a super high note to end that speech on, and really something. Well, let's welcome in our guests. Prabal Sen is energy analyst at ICICI Securities. Balaji Subramanian is Vice President at IIFL Securities, looks at the telecom space. Prakash Diwan, of course, is market expert, a regular on the channel. We have Amnish Agarwal, Head of Research at Prabhudas Lilladher, also joining in. Gentlemen, great to have all of you here. Thank you very much for your time. Prabal, let me just come to you on the energy business, which is still the largest sort of pie out of the entire group. What were the top kind of takeaways from you, and what needs to be washed out from as far as the speech is concerned?
I think, it basically reinforced the objective that has been laid out over the last few years of transitioning into a specialty chemicals, feedstock machine, as the chairman mentioned. Basically, the objective is very clear that the transitioning away from traditional fossil fuel refining and creating traditional petrochemical products into much more specialty petrochemical products, as well as transitioning the energy requirements to being fulfilled by renewable energy. I think that continues to pick up pace. The clarity and the further updates that were provided on the new energy segment were all encouraging. I think the fact that they are sticking to their targets of reaching net zero by 2035 suggests that the pace will be picked up quite substantially on the gigafactories for solar as well as wind energy. And the fact that green hydrogen timelines were also sort of finally mentioned, that now we have a clear roadmap in terms of when the first of these factories will actually commence and start operating and adding to the energy mix of the overall or energy business per se. I think those were all fair positives. Obviously, there is still, some unknowns that we have in terms of exact investments, what kind of capacity comes on stream by which year, and all of that. So I would assume that as and when we go along, the next few AGMs will continue to provide more clarity on what the energy plans look like. I think the other part that was mentioned about upstream, where obviously the pace of revival of that business has been extremely encouraging, and the fact that they are still interested in going ahead with aggressive exploration on the Krishna Godavari basin and some of the other assets, which suggests that beyond the current plans to reach 30 SCMD, there is a roadmap to sort of be in this business for the next 10 to 15 years. So that is encouraging as well from I guess a bridge standpoint, till the earnings completely migrates to newer materials and newer energy. So those were the key factors I think that I took from it.
Sure. Got that, Prabal. That's very well put. Let's get Prakash Diwan as well on board. Prakash, what we were expecting played out, right? I mean, there were no details on the timelines of the IPO, etc. But other than that, of course, they're well on track to meet a lot of targets across businesses. But from a stock-specific perspective, what would your reaction be?
So, Sonia, I think clearly, the articulation of some of the very focused, roadmap pointers that Mr. Ambani detailed. For example, he very clearly specified retail is going to be the biggest growth engine for the group. I think that was a fantastic detailing, and especially when Isha Ambani came and explained the kind of facets of growth, the kind of vectors at which they were working on. That clearly tells you that this new management, the new blood that's coming to the board, they have the task cut out. Retail is going to be a very, very major force to reckon with, and it's already making an impact on a global platform, right? So it's the only company from India which actually features in the top 100 retailers. So that's something which is remarkable. And my sense is that the investment phase in some of these businesses is also now kind of very clearly demarcated, as Prabal rightly explained. It's heartening to see that while green energy transition is happening at a very rapid pace, the conventional energy business will also continue to be harnessed well enough, especially the way they've made progress on the gas exploration side. So those things tell you that capital efficiency is going to be absolutely one of the best. And the next 10 years, he's promised, are going to be far better than the last 45 years. I mean, that says a lot in terms of what shareholders would see as value going forward, especially if you have a long-term orientation. And to me, the last piece was the JFS articulation. It clearly kept away from too much of focus on the lending business, more fee-based activity. You have the BlackRock partnership, which was a focus. You have the insurance thing that was mentioned, and then the payment, platform that he's talked about innovating without having to compete. It's disruptive, but at the same time complementary to what existing platforms exist in the Indian ecosystem. So all in all, I think it lays a lot of emphasis on JFS as a significant partnership-led growth area. And of course, as I said, retail is the space to watch out for.
Oh, absolutely. And another point, right? I mean, full marks to Reliance for always providing clarity on their succession plan. And this time as well, they've put a firm succession plan in place. Neeta Ambani, of course, stepping down, and, Akash, Anant and Isha on the board. But the legacy of this company is pretty impeccable. I mean, he was speaking about how it's been 46 years since he joined the board, and he's been on every single AGM, right in front of his shareholders, addressing everything. I mean, it's been not only a long and glorious career, but he's also spoken about how the next 5 years he'll continue to remain a chairman. So I guess, that premium is always attached.
Continuity, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. The only thing that changes is
consistency, perhaps,
from physical to E. But, on Reliance Retail, Prakash was making the point, and Mr. Ambani went on to say that, and I'm quoting here, allow me to add that several marquee global strategic and financial investors have shown a strong interest in Reliance Retail. Amnish is with us. Amnish, your thoughts on what we should take away from, the detailing on Reliance Retail, and, that the latest investment, of course, was mentioned, but I think looks like there are a few others coming into the business.
Yeah, hi Prashant. If you look at, say, what happened in 2020-21, Reliance Retail attracted a lot of interest and investment from market investors globally. Now, since then, I think the overall scale and the business context has completely changed. Reliance Retail today is in a much better shape, much better size than what it used to be. The retail continues to get more and more consolidated. And the way they are now building the entire stack with, you can say, Ajio on the other, Jio Mart on, you can say, one hand, and then with the help of you can say the entire your telecoms stack, you are now going more and more into the specialty retail with, you can say, Reliance Trends, Ajio and all that. So I think retail, as far as Reliance is concerned, I think it seems to be in quite a good shape at the present moment. And given the fact that India is a huge market with very few retailers which can give you this kind of length and breadth across the country, I think Reliance Retail has got a reasonably good future as we see in the medium to long term.
Okay, Balaji Subramanian, Vice President at IIFL Securities, is also with us. So, Balaji, your key takeaways, on telecom, of course, the Jio AirFiber launch announced, the date has come through, right, 19 September. But overall, I mean, what is your key takeaway?
So, under Reliance Jio AirFiber, we do have a change target, because earlier the company was talking about 100 million homes and premises to be connected over time through both AirFiber and fiber. Now, this time he talked about 200 million homes and premises being connected over the next 3 years. So there is a bit more granularity as far as the targets are concerned. But commenting on how easy or difficult it is going to be in terms of achievement of this target, I think we'll have to wait till the pricing details are out, because there are two things. One is the pricing of the plan, and the other one will be the pricing of the CPE, or the customer premise equipment. So I think we will get more details maybe in the next 3 weeks or so, around the time of the launch. Otherwise, I think the other key expectation was around an affordable 5G handset, or maybe handsets, depending on some of the which media report you went through. So we haven't heard anything on that, but that doesn't mean that there is nothing around the corner, because there could be some launch around the festive season or Diwali, and we still have more than 2 months before we get there. And finally, there was this reiteration of the benefits of Jio Bharat phone, and how Jio is on track when it comes to achievement of its target of pan-India 5G coverage by the end of calendar 2023. So, but these were all things that were already known. So the biggest announcement in this AGM, as per me, was the Jio AirFiber launch.
Sure, got that. In fact, talking about the Jio AirFiber launch, the advantage that Reliance Industries will have post this launch, Reema is standing by to give us a synopsis of all that was announced and what's important from the company perspective. Reema, over to you.
So the big announcement is that Jio AirFiber will be available commercially for sale from the auspicious occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. That's the 19th of September. Now, typically, when you want Wi-Fi at home, you will have an optic fiber which reaches home. There are last-mile connectivity issues. Instead, using Jio AirFiber, you use the 5G network to get Wi-Fi-like services. Now, according to Reliance Jio, this increases their total addressable market considerably, and now they can tap nearly 200 million homes, and this will also lay the foundation for smart homes. The second big announcement is that Jio already has 50 million 5G customers, and they reiterated that Jio will have 5G coverage pan-India by December of this year. One of the other big takeaways is that Jio up until now was mostly known for its consumer services, right? Your 4G, 5G services, the connectivity, or your phones or your laptops. But now Jio is focusing a lot on enterprise business. They want to build enterprise connectivity business that mirrors the scale of its consumer business. So currently, Jio platform already provides a lot of digital services which goes beyond connectivity for all the Reliance Group companies, whether it's in telecom, whether it's in finance, whether it's in retail. But now they want to tap the other Indian conglomerates, other Indian businesses, and even go global on that front. And finally, they spoke a lot about Jio AI revolution. Now, if AI has to take off and India needs to be at the center stage of it, India needs digital infrastructure. And therefore, Reliance Jio plans to create 2,000 megawatts of AI-ready computing capacity across both cloud and edge locations. The statement by Mukesh Ambani is quite interesting. 7 years ago, Jio promised broadband connectivity to everyone, everywhere. We have delivered. Today, Jio promises AI to everyone, everywhere, and we shall deliver. So to quickly summarize the 5 frontiers for Jio's growth from here on: the consumer segment driven by Jio Bharat and Jio 5G, the home segment turbocharged by Jio AirFiber, the business segment, the fourth one is Jio Platform's opportunity for global expansion, and the AI revolution.
Okay, thanks a lot, Reema, for that. So that is on Jio AirFiber, the launch over there, also on the Jio phones and the platform that they're launching there. Prakash Diwan, I want you to come in on this from a stock perspective. What are you looking at? I mean, of course, if you add the JFS, stock value, then it's not such a bad performance. I mean, the stock has seen a good rise compared to what we've seen in the last couple of months. But do you see a more shareholder value being added now post the AGM?
No, absolutely. I think the kind of clarity that has emerged, the roadmap on the succession plan, some of the verticals getting into much more granular, rollouts. For example, on the Jio side, the customer acquisition on the home side, Sonia, could be phenomenal. I mean, you're already talking about reaching 1.5 lakh a day, and if that were to happen, it gives them a tremendous amount of first mover advantage. And, some of the parameters that he spoke about in the speech, 25 GB per user consumption per month, some point in time, this would translate into much more superior ARPU. So for Jio, which has been struggling with a little bit of the profitability side, for retail that has reached scale, all of this will start translating. It become much easier for us to pencil in EPS, incremental EPS upgrades as we go along, as the quarters pan out. The whole point is that there is a very clear blueprint which is absolutely growth oriented and, as Prashant mentioned, value creating. And if that were to get implemented and overlaid with more granular details as they roll out, there's going to be no reason why the stock will not attract that kind of confidence. It's very clearly some upgrades that should be very confidently coming through in the next couple of weeks. And I think the stock has already gone through a lot of consolidation, especially post this JFS demerger, and it's probably ripe for another up move based on the kind of expectations that are built post this AGM.
Okay, Gautam, we'll take a quick commercial break here, Prakash, so stay with us. Prabal and Amnish, stay with us as we'll be right back, and we'll continue our chat on the other side. Balaji is with us now on the phone line, so stay with us. Coming back to all of you in just a bit. Welcome back. We are discussing the key takeaways from the Reliance AGM, and we've been talking to our guests here. We briefly did touch upon, the Reliance retail aspect as well. The chairman of Reliance essentially hinting that perhaps there are other strategic, large global investors also who are interested in Reliance retail. Let's actually just listen to Mr. Ambani speaking about the retail business, and then we'll just come back.
I am delighted to welcome yet another world-renowned sovereign wealth fund, the Qatar Investment Authority, as a valued investor in Reliance Retail with an investment of $1 billion for a 1% equity stake. This investment values Reliance Retail at pre-money equity value of rupees 8,28,000 crores. Based on this valuation, Reliance Retail, had it been listed, would have ranked among the top 4 companies in India and the top 10 retailers globally. Allow me to add that several marquee global strategic and financial investors have shown strong interest in Reliance Retail. I will update you about our progress with them in due course.
Okay, that's the management, very high conviction in the retail business, saying that Reliance Retail will be the fastest growing business in terms of revenues and EBITDA. Mangalam is here to give us the key takeaways on Reliance Retail. Mangalam, over to you.
Well, there were rather interesting takeaways from Reliance's AGM on the retail front. The first one, of course, is that Reliance Retail is among the biggest global retailer in the world, in the top 100 for sure, and among the fastest growing as well. Importantly, the valuation driver of the company continues to drive valuation. In September 2020, when the first round of fundraisers happened in Reliance Retail, it was close to 4.28 lakh crores in terms of valuation. And the latest that came in from Qatar Investment Authority valued the company at around $100 billion, little around double of what we saw in September 2020 itself. But that's not all. There was a bit of a tease. And Mukesh Ambani did say that several global strategic and marquee investors are interested in Reliance Retail, and the details on that would be updated in due course of time. So does that mean there are more investments likely in Reliance Retail? We'll watch that space for more. But important numbers that were thrown around as well. 100 crore transactions this year, 78 crore footfalls in Reliance Retail, 25 crore registered customers, and digital and new commerce sales actually crossing 50,000 crores in the previous financial year as well. Importantly, Reliance Retail now serves 98% of the country's PIN code. So for the past few years, it has been the company's growth and valuation driver, and Mukesh Ambani reiterated that Reliance Retail will be our fastest growing business in terms of revenue and EBITDA.
Fastest growing business within the entire group. You know, that's retail. I just want to come back for a quick minute on Jio Financial Services. Prakash, if I can just come to you. You know, it's a listed entity now. It's a separate entity now. Many were waiting for some kind of clarity on what this will do. We know that they will get into insurance, right? That we know now. There was a sort of soundbite from Larry Fink as well of BlackRock in relation to the agreement earlier. Is there a way to kind of, what we heard today, does it add in any way to be able to build some sort of an earnings model for Jio Financial Services, or add an option value or something? Since it is separately listed and, yeah.
I know what you're saying. It's a challenge a lot of us are facing, in terms of according some sort of a veritable value to the business. But it's too early to kind of start factoring in what's going to contribute how much to the top line and to the bottom line. The only thing we know is that it's a platform that's very well capitalized. It has reach. It has, the distribution might to kind of be able to sell what it produces. But what today's announcement does, Prashant, in my understanding, is that the partnership with BlackRock is likely to be the one that will take off much earlier than the insurance was natural, because we still don't know, what kind of association and partnerships would come through on the insurance side. But remember, it's across all life, health, general, so it's not just a pocket that they are looking at. So I think they're going to keep this digital first, focus in terms of reaching out to customers in a way. And he mentioned a couple of times it's about affordable and trustworthy financial service investment products. So, we are talking about probably passive funds, given the strength that BlackRock comes with. It'll be faster to roll out. So in terms of AUM, maybe, it's probably going to be much faster than a lot of other players. In terms of insurance, there could be something very basic and very simple products which could be sold on a digital first basis. And of course, the payment thing which he spoke about, which corroborates very well with the backdrop of the Jio retail backbone that they've created among merchant establishments and customers both. So, there's this whole mix of utilizing what is already existing rather than reinventing the wheel at this point. And that makes it faster on a rollout basis. But to answer the question specifically, how much value do you accord to it? I think it takes at least 2 quarters for those plans to start kind of getting you some sort of extrapolation ability on earnings, Prashant. So you'll have to wait for that. But it does make sure that the floor for Jio as where it stands today is very rock solid, because there's nothing which is doubtful in terms of as and when it happens, if and when it happens. It's just a matter of time before it happens. And as I said earlier, there's not much of focus on lending which is where, we were all getting a bit more carried away by comparing it with the likes of Chola and Bajaj Finance and all of that, and saying, it's taken them so long to build AUM. Why would, Jio not have to spend that kind of time? But the rollout seems to be on very different things. The digital first approach definitely gets them to accord value faster, but it will still probably take us time to pencil in all of that in the next couple of quarters.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Prakash. Well, let's do one thing quickly before we wrap up this show. Sonal is also joining us to give us a roadmap on Reliance's new energy business and, all the big goals that they have over there. Sonal, over to you.
Well, the new energy business continues to be the focus point for Reliance Industries, and this time they reiterated that they will deploy the committed capital of 75,000 crore rupees in this business, and they will continue to invest in technology, talent, and will collaborate with global technology and product companies as well. Not only that, they are also looking to include startup focused on commercializing emerging and disruptive technology. So technology is also going to be a big focus here. They are looking at installation of at least 100 gigawatt of renewable energy generation by 2030, which will include both solar and wind energy generation as well. Their priority now is to set up their battery giga factory by 2026, and they are looking at also setting up fully integrated automated giga scale electrolyzer manufacturing facility, which will be used to produce green hydrogen as well. They will establish a large scale green hydrogen production at Jamnagar, which will also integrate with the likes of green ammonia and green methanol production, both for the domestic and the international markets as well. Their target is also to establish 100 CBG plants or the biogas plants in the next 5 years, consuming 5.5 million tons of agro residue and organic waste as well. They also talk about having indigenous technology ownership and manufacturing capabilities for taking the stride forward in the new energy business, and that continues, again, as I said, the focus point of the company. In the oil and gas business, which is the E&P business, they have been doing really well on a quarterly basis, and that is something they expect to continue as well. They are on their way to enhance production to 30 MMSCMD, which will be 30% of India's gas production and 15% of the current demand as well. They also say that this gas will save up to $7 billion per annum in terms of import costs for the country. So that would be a big amount here. In the oil to chemicals business now, they are on journey to transition oil to chemicals business into sustainable and green integrated chemicals and materials business. The cost of renewables will be significantly lower versus the fossil fuel business, and that of course will be a trigger point as well. The target is to be among the top 3 players globally in the carbon fiber and carbon fiber reinforced plastic composites. So yes, a lot of targets in place, and they are hopeful of achieving it in the timeline that they had given earlier as well.
Well, Sonal, thank you very much for getting us all those details. Well, Prakash, Amnish, Prabal, Balaji, thank you very much, all of you, for joining us here on this special broadcast. Thank you from all of us here. Thanks for watching. More coming up in just a bit.